Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the what if. Chapter 13. Making your mark. Luffy drilled Crocodile with a wicked right hand that sent him sprawling head over heels, but Luffy wasn't done with his offensive assault yet. Luffy got his legs pumping and stretched out his arms to grasp Crocodile by the shoulders before stopping his legs and launching forward from the momentum, rolling through the air. Crocodile was curious as to why Luffy could touch him and felt the moisture on his arms, but had no time to think further on it when the rubber boy headbutted him right in the face. Gomu Gomu no Maru no Kogiri, Gum Gum Buzzsaw. Crocodile was sent flying flat on his back again while Luffy backflipped out of it and landed on his feet with a grin. Hee hee hee. Cobra looked on in awe at the sight of Crocodile laying out by this strange person that just appeared out of nowhere. Damn Luffy. Cobra's attention was turned to his left where he saw a blonde man leaning on a wall watching the fight with interest. That looked personal to me. What did he do to you, other than shove a hook through your chest and leave you for dead? Of course. Hey. Nico Robin chuckled in amusement. Mr. Uzumaki. How did you get here so quickly? Naruto grinned at her. Oh, I've been here hiding the whole time. I got here the same time you did. I rode that banana-nosed crocodile that you rode to get here. The bottom side. It was miserable. I got sand all in my hair. Robin's eyes widened before returning to normal. I'm just going to nod politely as if what you just said wasn't completely odd and asinine sounding. She turned her attention back to the fight between Luffy and Crocodile. Get up, Luffy said, knowing that the little amount of offense he managed to string together wouldn't be enough to keep Crocodile down. The first time when I lost, the water from Yuba made me realize that if you touch water you can't turn into sand. Naruto's eyes widened. Yeah, it's good for Crocodile that he's fighting Luffy, because if we had fought I would have worn his ass out now that that particular nugget of information is out. Luffy continued talking. So that's why you hate the rain. Because you're scared of it. The barrel on Luffy's back was constantly covering him in water. As long as I'm using this I can beat you. This party is just starting. Hell yeah, Naruto yelled, getting caught up in the feeling. Kick his ass, Luffy. He noticed Cobra and Robin looking at him strangely. What? I never get to see good fights anymore. I'm excited. XXX Usopp looked at Vivi strangely as the battle raged between the troops and the rebels. You want me to find the shooter? How the hell am I supposed to do that? Vivi clasped her hands together in front of herself. There's no time to think about it, we only have 10 minutes. Usopp frowned. Since the diameter of the blast is about 5 kilometers, the enemy should be about 2.5 kilometers away. No, Vivi said suddenly, the shooters might be very near here. What? Usopp exclaimed. How? If the shooter is here, when the explosion goes off then they'll be. Nami scowled. Crocodile is just that kind of person, to kill his own allies. One of Baroque Works' disguised soldiers attempted to attack Vivi from behind but was quickly put out of commission by Zoro and Sanji, courtesy of a sword slash and a kick to the face. This turned the rest on to the fact that they were surrounded by members of Baroque Works' billions. We've finally found you, Princess Vivi. Killing you will get us promoted and make us millionaires. Sanji looked at Zoro. How long do you think this will take? Zoro shrugged. We have to make every second count at a time like this, so. 2 seconds. Both men said simultaneously before beginning their assault on the weak smattering of Crocodile's bottom-level cronies. Everyone else on the crew took off to search for Crocodile's weapon. However, it didn't take long for Sanji and Zoro to finish off their opponents and they immediately followed suit. After running for a while, Zoro came to a stop at an odd sight. His old bounty hunter friends trying to make their way through Ulubarna. Come on Yosaku, hurry up. And stop dropping me, Johnny yelled as he found himself glaring at Yosaku from the ground. Yosaku growled down at his partner. My hands can't hold anything right now, you rubber-legged bastard. Why don't you crawl your useless ass to where the action is? What are you two doing? Zoro asked, getting their attention away from their argument. And what is wrong with you two? A fight, both said at the same time before Yosaku grinned and jumped in the air gleefully. A fight we actually won. With minimal visible damage done ourselves. Hey, Johnny snapped at him irritably. What the hell do you call this? I can't walk, asshole. Yosaku waved him off. I said visible damage. You just look like a lazy ass that won't stand up. Zoro sweat dropped at their banter. Yeah, okay, we're doing something important right now, are you two coming? He almost face-faulted when he saw Yosaku trying to pick up Johnny and throw him over his shoulder with just his legs. The two finally worked it out with Johnny clawing his way onto Yosaku's back and holding on. Let's go then, he said before running off after the rest of his crew. XXX Crocodile sat on the ground laughing. You think you can beat me? Upon hearing Luffy's yes, he laughed louder. Even near death you could still see through my powers, but you're still so young. Do you think that's all there is to it? You do know I'm one of the Shichibukai. Luffy set himself in his fighting stance. Who cares? I'll just be the 8-1 of you then. Gomu Gomu no bullet, gum gum bullet. Luffy stretched his arm back and shot a punch right at Crocodile's face. Crocodile ducked his punch. Attacks like this are too easy to dodge. He grabbed onto Luffy's arm. Is your hand wet now? Don't forget that I can absorb water, Straw Hat, he said as he began sucking the extra water out of Luffy's arm. I forgot he had that ability. Luffy rushed at Crocodile and launched a kick that only ended with his foot going through Crocodile's sandy head. As he flew through Crocodile's body, he took deep drinks from the barrel on his back. The first time we fought, you said by using devil fruit powers in different ways you get stronger. He launched another long punch at Crocodile before snapping his arm like a rubber band. Gomu Gomu no machine gun, gum gum machine gun. The vibration of Luffy's arm sent it at Crocodile in an almost unreadable pattern, narrowly missing the man who was able to dodge it correctly at the last moment. Sneaky bastard. He dragged his golden hook across the ground to stop his dodging movement. Desato Supada, Desert Spada. He sent a blade of sand through the ground at Luffy. Not this attack again, Luffy said as he dodged it by a hair. Man, that was dangerous, he said as he looked at the groove that was cut in the area he just moved out of the way of. Luffy shot his fist out at Crocodile again, who just scoffed. You always use the same attack, how could you win like that? Luffy pulled his fist back at the last second and rushed up to Crocodile's face before backhanding him unexpectedly. I've been planning this from the beginning, he shouted as he took the water barrel from his back and sprayed the water at his enemy, to get you soaked. Of course you did, Crocodile said while forming a sandy whirlwind in his palm. Sable's sandstorm. Luffy panicked and found himself and his barrel thrown backwards by Crocodile's attack. Ah, water barrel. Luffy caught his barrel before it could fall and smash on the ground, sighing in relief. Crocodile laughed and stood back up. You're really into this fight, Straw Hat. If you lose your barrel, your chances are shot. If that's the case, then how is this any different from the last time? Luffy looked at his barrel before glaring at Crocodile. You're right, it wouldn't be any different. He drank down all the rest of his water and smashed his barrel on the ground. Then how about this? If it's like this, I'm different from the last time. Crocodile looked at him with a stunned expression. You can't be serious. Over on the side, Naruto palmed his forehead. Luffy, I have no smart mouth remarks to make about this. Robin was simply giggling at what she was seeing. Luffy had drunken all of the water and bulged out around his midsection. Water Luffy. With a pop noise, water started coming out of Luffy's belly button. Oh damn it, I'm leaking. Crocodile simply stared at Luffy, panic at his leaking water, unable to even say anything about how absurd the boy was. Is this kid serious? Robin stopped giggling long enough to comment on the fight. Straw Hat Luffy is a very interesting person, isn't he? Naruto rolled his eyes. Interesting like a kid that spent too much time huffing paint. Damned if I don't dig his attitude though. Crocodile watched Luffy start to get sick to his stomach from drinking so much water and began to get angry. Doesn't he get what's going on? Is this Brad underestimating me or something? He finally snapped. You goddamn kid. What the hell are you joking about? In response, Luffy squeezed his stomach and spat a spray of water out in Crocodile's face, paralyzing the man from moving. Who's kidding? I'm always serious. Gomu Gomu no rocket, gum gum rocket. Luffy stretched his hands back and smashed them right into Crocodile's body, sending him flying back through a wall. How's that asshole? I can't believe this, Cobra said as he watched Luffy battle Crocodile. He then yelled in pain as he felt himself freed from the wall he was stuck to, via Nico Robin pulling spikes that had stuck him there out. Robin used her powers to remove the spikes. Now's not the time to appreciate it just yet, King Cobra. You should hurry up and take me to the place where the true history is written. Cobra looked at Robin hatefully. Why would you want to see that? The look on the woman's face was not one of amusement as she used her extra hands grown from Cobra's body to put him in an excruciating submission hold. It doesn't matter to you. Just take me there. She smirked at Luffy. It looks like your good luck is about to run out. Crocodile emerged from the rubble of the wall with an enraged look on his face. Nico Robin, hurry up if you don't want to be drained dry too, because this kid has fucking pissed me off. Robin nodded. Whatever you say. She turned to Naruto, who other than getting a hardened look on his face when she harmed Cobra, did nothing. And what of you, me? Uzumaki. It would probably be in your best interest to move as well. Naruto shook his head. No, I'll be wherever you're going shortly enough. I'm still watching the fight. The fight is over, Mr. Uzumaki, but as you wish, she said as she began to walk away. Listen up, Straw Hat, Crocodile said, grinning evilly, every stone in this place will be destroyed. Crocodile placed his hand on the ground and quickly all of the grass began to turn yellow, then the trees, and then every part of the ground began to dry out and crack, before splitting and dropping Luffy through a fault in the ground. Luffy began to fall, that bastard. He shot of globs of water from his body at Crocodile, but the man simply raised his hand and the water dissolved. He can absorb it just like that. You think you took my ability away, water Luffy? Then you're a fool. The power of sand depends on the aridity of the environment. My right hand can dry up anything without limit, even trees, rocks, and dirt. Luffy watched as the entire area was turned to sand, even the sandals on his feet. Gurondo Secco, ground drying. Crocodile continued to turn the place into a wasteland, obliterating the former beauty of the top of Alabasta's royal palace. XXX Robin was dragging Cobra through town looking for something when a group of Marines stood in her path. You all need to simply move aside. I have something important to do. Tashigi was at the head of the group, leading them against her. It's hard to allow that with what's already happening in Alubarna. I've already heard all of the reports, understood. Robin almost sneered but kept up her calm face. I don't really care, as long as you are all government dogs. I despise your existence. If you don't get out of my way, she finished threateningly. A katana was brandished by Tashigi. There's no way that's happening. Robin's hat shadowed her eyes. Then it looks like I have to kill you. Cobra decided to attempt to interject. Wait, Marines. Don't worry about me, stop the uprising first. At 4 p.m. everyone will be bombed, so you need to end it. Tashigi looked at the watch on her wrist in shock. What? In 7 minutes. Cobra pleaded with her. Please, this concerns the lives of 1 million citizens. Tashigi readied herself to attack. Don't worry, we'll save you and stop her. Her men quickly followed suit. You can't stop me, Robin said simply, trying to fleur 30 flower. Robin used her powers to grow hands on a bunch of Tashigi's Marines and strangle them. One of Tashigi's Marines pointed at her in recognition. Lieutenant. That's. He was cut off from speaking with a sizzling noise from something melting through the back of his head through the front, killing him instantly. Nico Robin. The legendary Devil Child. 79 million belly bounty. Finally, someone around here that isn't a wimp. If you've been outrunning the Marines for upwards of 20 years since you were 8, you've got to be tough. Soren. Doing that was completely and utterly pointless. On the rooftop, Soren stood crouching over the edge before looking up at Miss Valentine, who was simply floating around using her umbrella. Sorry. You know how when some people see insects they just need to squash them no matter whether or not they're bothering them. Well, that's me. Only accept insects, they're Marines, and instead of squashing them I killed them in the most painful way available at the moment. Tashigi glared up at Soren, who simply waved at her in amusement. You. What are you doing here? Miss Valentine landed next to Soren and the two looked at each other before shrugging. Vacation. But enough about me. What about that bomb that's going to off? Or do I need to help Miss Nico Robin clear out your useless cannon fodder Marines? You might as well make them useful. Tashigi growled lowly at Soren until Robin's impatient voice got her attention. Hey. Have you had enough yet or what? Do I have to kill every one of you to get my point across? Tashigi looked between Robin and Soren, wondering who the woman nearby him was. Even with numbers on our side we can't do a thing to these people. She looked at her troops. Everyone get to the palace grounds and stop that bomb. Hurry. As her marines went off to resolve the issue, she stood in front of Robin ready to fight. Now let that man go. When I said to get out of my way or I'd kill you, I was serious. Robin grew hands on Tashigi's shoulders to hold her throat back while another pair of hands grown on her chest took her sword from her and pointed it at her neck. Nico Robin. Robin refrained from finishing her off when she heard Soren speak. What do you want? The humor from before was gone from Soren's face. I can understand your hatred of the Marines. I have my own vendetta against them, to be honest, and you can feel free to kill all of the bastards that you want, but you're going to let that one go. Robin raised a single eyebrow and looked up at him. And why should I? Soren grinned. Well, Uzumaki told me not to fight any of you unless you provoke me, despite the fact that I want to fight you and your boss, really bad. Let's just say that killing her would unnecessarily provoke me and you're supposed to be in something of a hurry, right? Drop the girl and just continue on, she's nobody to you. Robin smiled in amusement. And what exactly is she to you? A chuckle came from the bald young man. She's interesting, which is more than I can say about the current situation at large. I really don't care about this country, so you can do what you like with whatever it is you're doing with that guy there. He looks important. Miss Valentine rolled her eyes. Stupidity is contagious on your ship, I swear. That's the king of the country. Really? Soren questioned. Well, that just proves my point then, doesn't it? Robin simply stared at him for a long time before dropping Tashigi and continuing on about her way with not a word. I appreciate it. Miss Valentine watched Robin head off with Cobra in tow, shaking her head before turning back to Soren. You just played a game of chicken with Nico Robin for some random marine chick, that's trying to kill you. I know, Soren responded before Tashigi almost cut him in half, forcing him and Miss Valentine to jump, her floating to another roof before sitting on the edge to watch him landing in the street. Well, you're welcome, he said sarcastically. Tashigi made her way back down to the ground and stood in front of him, sword drawn against him. Why did you do that? I don't owe you anything, you know. Soren nodded. I didn't do that for you, I did that for me. I'm going to do a little something important for you. I'm going to do everything in my power to keep you alive until you understand that good and evil isn't the simple shade of black and white that you and your precious Marines and world government paint it to be. The lines are blurred, and while I'm as close to evil as you're going to see in a lot of cases, there are tons of people out there far worse than me, that work alongside you. Tashigi bristled in anger and took a swing at him with her sword, snarling at him when he dodged it again without issue, like in Nanohana. So you're some kind of noble visionary that can see underneath the supposed lies of the government. Soren kept dodging her. You're kind of right. I can see underneath the facade of peace that is constantly put up, but I'm doing this for me. I could swear I've told you this before, but I'm selfish. There's no big major conspiracy at hand in my head. I just want to utterly eradicate the influence of the Marines and the bastard government that backs them and grants them their authority. Not if I kill you here and finish you off. You're just a glorified murderer. She stopped attacking when, after an errant swing of her blade, a glowing, sizzling green knife hand stopped just short of her face. Soren simply moved his hand from in front of her face to grabbing the blade of her sword, melting the metal through and dismembering the blade. Tashigi stepped back and looked at the remains of her sword before glaring at Soren, who dusted his hands off. Looks like you need a better weapon. Tashigi attempted to continue to fight with the remaining scraps of her sword, but ended up taking a short backhand that sent her down to the ground. She tried sitting up but ended up getting her lights turned out once and for all by the bottom of Soren's boot. Soren looked at the unconscious girl as Miss Valentine drifted down behind him with a dry look on her face. Wow, knocking a girl out after saving her life. You're such a ladies' man, Soren. She remarked sarcastically, laughing amusedly. Soren looked at her with a twitching eye. Shut it, Valentine. You're looking at the wrong guy for chivalry. She pointed a sword at me, therefore she lost all chances for special treatment because of her gender. Walking ahead of him with her umbrella out to shade her from the sun, she made an uncaring noise. So now what? Do we follow her? She really didn't want to try and tail Nico Robin. Although she was confident of Soren's ability to handle himself, she wasn't him and made no qualms about considering herself on his or Crocodile's second-in-command's level. Soren shook his head. Nope. We're still looking for Uzumaki, which means we're more or less looking for Crocodile too, since that's where his blonde ass is probably situated. Miss Valentine's sweat dropped. We're going to find Crocodile. She raised her finger and pointed in the direction Robin walked off in. I vote we follow her. She finished with a weak laugh. Soren stroked his chin in thought. Your opinion has been noted. However, in this instance this is not a democracy, it's a dictatorship, and I say we're going to find Uzumaki. Of course you can always go off on your own if you really want to find her. Miss Valentine paled. Take my chances getting between Crocodile, Naruto, and whatever is going on around them, or go off on my own and get strangled by Nico Robin. It's lose-lose no matter what I do. She groaned in defeat. Fine, we'll look for Naruto. Good, Soren said. Where's Uzumaki anyway? The only thing stopping Miss Valentine from strangling him where he stood was the fact that he would just melt her hands off for trying it anyway. XXX Luffy pulled himself up on a ledge overlooking what used to be the palace lawn. Damn, that guy's hand can turn the palace lawn into a desert. He looked around below. Where did he go? Crocodile appeared right above Luffy, standing on the ledge he was hanging on. You made me waste so much energy with this little fight. He reached down and grabbed Luffy around the neck with his right hand. Luffy tried to spit a water ball at Crocodile again but missed. You didn't hit me this time, Straw Hat. His powers began coming into play as he began absorbing Luffy's fluid again from his body. Looks like you lose again. Luffy's body began to completely shrivel up and become wrinkled as Crocodile looked at the massive clock tower. This is a great way for you to die. This whole area and the yard of the palace itself will be blown to hell, so just stay silent. He threw Luffy high into the air, and enjoy the show. Celebrate the birth of a new country and its king. He let Luffy's body lifelessly hit the ground. Sorry about that, Straw Hat, but I'm in a hurry. Crocodile mumbled to himself as he turned to sand and started to blow away in the wind. I think she meant the tomb in the west side. Luffy simply laid motionless on the ground. Naruto appeared next to him in a shunshin. Luffy, make a noise if you're not dead. In response, Luffy made a low wheezing noise due to how dry he was. Naruto poked at him with his foot. If you're done with Crocodile and want to tag out, I'm all for it. Wiping that smirk off of his face would make my day. Luffy didn't respond, but something told Naruto to look up. Once he did so, his eyes widened and a smile came onto his face. You're so lucky it isn't even funny. He stepped back as the glob of water Luffy shot and missed at Crocodile came back down and splashed all over him. Luffy sat up and took a huge breath. Gah. I thought I was dead for sure. Naruto looked down at him with a deadpan expression. You pretty much were. Be happy that your aim is shit. Now do you want to tag out to your friendly neighborhood shinobi? Naruto said, putting his hand out in a gesture. Luffy slapped Naruto's hand away. There's no way Crocodile is getting off that easily. He stood up and dusted the sand off of his body. Now which way did that guy go? Naruto silently pointed west of their location. Gotta go. Luffy immediately set off in that direction to pursue Crocodile once more in a trail of dust. Naruto's form then popped out existence in a puff of smoke. XXX Royal Tomb of Alabasta, a hidden set of stairs opened up to Robin and Cobra leading underground. There. The true history is down there. Normal people wouldn't know of its existence. He looked at Robin scrutinizingly. The world is full of secrets, even a major country's king like yourself can't know everything. Robin said as she began to descend the stairs. Can you understand the true history? Cobra asked. Robin didn't even glance back. Of course. That's why Crocodile made a deal with me. He can't kill me. The realization that someone could read what was down there shocked Cobra. It's not your fault. You never realized that there was someone who can actually read it. She looked over her shoulder at Robin. There should be some information about Pluton in this history of yours, shouldn't there? Cobra kept his face impassive. I wouldn't know. All the Alabastan Kingdom ever did was protect its true history, nothing more. Protect? Robin scoffed. Don't joke around. This place is fucking huge. As they finished descending the stairs, they found Naruto already down there leaning against a massive ornate door. Robin tensed up seeing him there. How did you find this place and how did you get down here before us? Naruto shrugged. I followed you when you left. And I didn't beat you here. I just went inside when you weren't looking and were just messing around at the entrance after you opened it. So what's Pluton and what's the big deal about getting to it? Robin walked past him and began to open the door. You'll see soon enough if you stay here. XXX with Straw Hat Crew, the group was still running around the city trying to locate Crocodile's explosive that would destroy all of the combating people. Nami turned to Chopper, who had transformed into his walk point, his full reindeer form, to keep up with the others. Chopper, can you smell out anything? Chopper shook his head. No, the whole town smells like gunpowder. As a matter of fact, there's a smell of gunpowder and tangerines. Yeah, tangerines coming closer to us. There was no time for any thought on the matter as they passed an intersection, ending up with Nami crashing into a figure close to her size and falling over. Watch out, damn it! Nami and another feminine voice cried out in anger at the same time before looking at each other and blinking. Nojiko. Nojiko stood up and helped up her sister. Nami. Where are you guys going? Nami stood up and moved her arms frantically. We're looking for a huge bomb that's going to take out 5 kilometers in the next few minutes and kill us and everyone in the palace square. Nojiko paled. Holy crap. Where the hell is it then? If it's that strong, it has to be huge, and there can only be so many places to hide something like that. Something like that can't be too far from where it's supposed to go off. Use your heads, damn it. She noticed everyone staring at her, bringing an embarrassed blush to her face. Naruto-kun made me learn about the weapons that I use and might use, bombs included. Right, Nami said to break the silence before turning to Chopper. Chopper tried to get the smell of a shooter aiming at the palace. Chopper face faulted in his deer form. How is that even possible? XXX, what about the rooftops? Vivi asked as they had split up to cover ground better. Zoro with Usopp, Sanji with Johnny and Yosaku, Nami with Chopper, and Vivi with her guardian Pell. Have you seen anything? The man that had brought Luffy to Alubarna, in his falcon form, was flying around overhead. Nothing. I've searched all of the rooftops from the air. Vivi was seriously beginning to freak out. We need to keep searching. XXX Soren and Miss Valentine were still standing around the unconscious Tashigi with the male member of the duo pacing around thoughtfully. I can't distinguish between the sounds of anarchy in all directions to find where Uzumaki is in particular, and you couldn't see anything when you floated up to check. That guy is a bastard to find when you're actually looking for him. Miss Valentine felt like repeatedly slamming her head into the nearest wall. They had been simply standing there for almost 10 minutes trying to think of what to do, and Soren was a well of useless ideas. He stopped his pacing as he faced a certain direction down the street. It's Rubber Boy. Luffy stood in place, huffing slightly. Where's that fucking crocodile? Soren simply stared at Luffy. You lost him. One of the most dangerous men alive, and you lost him after fighting him. That means you either got your ass kicked or it was easy and he ran away, and looking at you I would bet on the first one. Luffy blinked. So, I'll just beat him up this time for sure. Miss Valentine spoke up. I actually saw a crocodile when I was flying walking west towards the temple. Soren snapped his head over to her. You did? Why the hell didn't you tell me that in the first place? That would have been something I would have liked to have known. Miss Valentine got right back in his face and yelled right back at him. Because you said you were looking for Naruto. And I'm not dumb. All you were looking for Naruto for was so you could find and fight Crocodile. Well, I don't feel like getting killed today, so I didn't tell your sociopathic ass where he was. I am running out of patience, woman. Soren said. I want to melt you so badly right now. Miss Valentine laughed. I wish you would try. See if Naruto wouldn't beat the shit out of you and gift wrap you to the Marines after you did it. Soren growled. You can't use Uzumaki as a shield. He'd have my back. I've known him longer than you. But you are a woman though. Shit. He looked around. Where did Rubberneck get to? Miss Valentine smirked. He took off right after I told him where Crocodile went. He's long gone. What? Soren yelled. Which way was that again? I don't remember, she stated cheerfully before floating off with her umbrella, laughing when Soren fired a shot of acid at her in anger. Get back here, bitch. Soren immediately took off after her. You have to land sometime. The wind won't let you float forever, and then your ass is mine. XXX Naruto stood next to Robin as she went over some foreign writing on a large block inside of the tombs. As she went over the writing, she averted her eyes towards Naruto, who was looking at it intently. Can he possibly be able to read this? Her eyes widened when she saw Naruto scan the writing with his finger as if he was reading. Yes, it's just as I thought. Robin held her breath, waiting on what exactly he found. If he could actually translate the poneglyphs, I can't understand jack on this brick. How fuck can you read this shit, Robin-chan? I'm really feeling just how low my IQ just by standing here. If she didn't have a need to keep her composure at all times, she probably would have face-faulted at that. Nothing else is here, she asked Cobra. Is this all this country is hiding? You aren't satisfied, he asked curiously. I've fulfilled your wish and given you what you wanted. So is this the true history, Nico? Robin? Crocodile asked as he entered the room. It looks weird. Naruto pointed at Crocodile in victory. You see? Right there. If he doesn't have a clue of what's going on, then I never had a chance in hell of getting this. Seriously, can someone translate this for me or teach me how to read it? Being ignorant isn't cool. Crocodile looked at Naruto. You. Why on earth are you down here? He was preparing for another fight with Naruto, but the blonde wasn't making a hostile move towards him for the time being. Naruto shrugged. I don't know, everybody was doing it. Naruto turned to Robin. For the benefit of those of us that have only taken the time to learn ways of reading and writing relevant to them, can you please read this out loud, Robin-chan? Robin smiled at him. Of course, Mr. Uzumaki. She began to translate from the writing. Soxala conquered and built this kingdom in the year 239. In 269 the Dima family is the strongest. During the year 306 Aramar completed the Fuda Holy Temple. In 325 Masamdi, the Oridian hero. Wait. Crocodile cut her off there. Was that what we were looking for? I don't give a damn about this place's history. I want to know whether or not there is a hidden weapon in this country. Robin shook her head. There is nothing like that, it's all just history. The word, Pluton, isn't in here anywhere. Crocodile's face changed from anger to a chilling impassive look. I see. Well, that's unfortunate. Although you were an amazing partner, I'll have to kill you now. Robin turned around in shock, facing the tall man. Naruto stared at him tensely. Crocodile continued to talk. Our agreement from 4 years ago has come to an end. You said, as long as you take me to the true history, I'll tell you about the weapon. After 4 years in Baroque works, you've always been smart and diligent in that time, and that was enough for me. He took a swing at Robin with his hook that knocked her hat off. You ended up breaking your promise, but I'm not really mad at you. Do you know why, dear? Fool, Robin said as she reached into her coat for a vial. I've known your intentions the entire time. She threw the vial full of water at him. After he moved out of the way, she grew an arm on his shoulder and caught it herself. If I pour water on you, then I can wound you, right? Robin pulled a knife. Before she could pour it on him, he turned to sand and evaded any form of attack. He appeared behind her and cut her with his hook. I can forgive you because from the start I never trusted anyone. He finished with a smirk. His smirk vanished when Robin's body turned to smoke and a split log hit the ground. That wasn't very cool, Crocodile Tem. Naruto said from across the room, standing next to Robin, who was looking at him strangely after saving her. You don't just go double-crossing partners like that. There isn't very much that pisses me off more than people like you that would do that to a comrade. Naruto sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. Fuck it. Luffy's taking too long to get here. I might as well kill you myself before you piss me off anymore. Suddenly the room started to shake. Crocodile looked around in confusion. What the hell? The cannon shouldn't be ready yet. He looked at Cobra, who had a victorious smirk on his face. His hands were also free from Robin's Hana no Mi power. What did you do? The king chuckled from his spot on the ground. Nothing big, I just pulled away a main pillar. This is going to bring everything down. You and I are going to die right here. Naruto palmed his forehead. I just said I was going to beat his ass. What part of you bringing the place down seemed like a good idea to you right now? Kami, this is turning into a headache. All I wanted was something interesting to do, and now it's blown up into this whole big thing. Crocodile simply laughed at Naruto and the king. I'll just turn the rocks to sand. No matter what, in 3 minutes this country will be mine and every obstacle in my way will be dead. As long as I know the Pluton exists, I'll be able to find it in time, no problem. Naruto sighed. A lunatic to the end, just every other bad guy I've fought. Naruto started cracking his knuckles. Well, it's about time to end this once and for all. Let's stop beating around the bush and get straight to business. I haven't punched anything in the face in about a week. Loud footsteps echoed through the crumbling tomb, alerting everyone's attention to the door. Crocodile's eyes turned angry at who he saw, that damn kid again. Naruto sighed and dropped his shoulders sadly. Man, fine, whatever, you'd better win this time, Luffy. I'm getting sick of peeling you off of the ground and sending you back like a wind-up toy. Naruto pulled Robin with him and sat on the ground by Cobra, both of them just looking at him as if he were the oddest person on earth. The fact that the place was coming down around him seemingly didn't even bother him, however he was pouting like a kid at not getting to fight like he was skipped in a lunch line. Why are you still alive? Crocodile said testily. Why do you keep coming back every time I kill you? Because you never fucking finish him off, you asshole. Naruto shouted from the sidelines. It's like nails on a chalkboard, annoying. I almost stepped in twice already because I thought you finished him off, but yet again here he is. I hope he breaks his foot off in your ass this time. Naruto said, crossing his arms and glaring at Crocodile. Crocodile glared right back at him, vowing that Naruto was next after he dealt with Luffy. Why are you here? How many times do I have to kill you to satisfy you? Luffy stared him down. You took something away and haven't returned it yet. I took away? Crocodile asked. Is it money? Is it fame? Is it trust? Is it life? Is it rain? Is it this country? Ha ha ha. What do you want me to give back? I took lots of things. Luffy raised an eyebrow. Country. You say some stupid things. Crocodile ran his hand through his hair. I'll have the country eventually. He laughed. By the time I got here the king's country was already gone. If that's true, Luffy started before rushing at Crocodile to attack, then that guy should laugh right in your face. Crocodile shook his head. You can't just come here without water. You're nothing to me. He said that right before Luffy kicked him straight in the face. He then followed up with a punch that once again caught Crocodile flush and sent him into a wall. Crocodile pulled himself out. How? How could you have? He then saw something drip from Luffy's arms, blood. Luffy showed him his hand covered in blood. That should stop your sand too, right? A growl came from Crocodile before he began to laugh. Twice already you should have been dead and yet you've come back repeatedly. I think that deserves a reward. Luffy shot another kick at him that he took the initiative to dodge this time around. He then took the golden cover of his hook off. It seems like you really want me to finish you off for sure this time. For a dangerous enemy like you, you deserve a very poisonous hook. He held out his hook in what appeared to be a proper fighting stance. This is the last fight, Straw Hat. Luffy shot his fist out at Crocodile, who simply moved to the side and attempted to cut into Luffy's arm with his poison hook. However, Luffy had been paying attention and snapped his arm like a rubber band to make Crocodile miss and slam it into the ground. The two stared at each other in a stalemate as the place came down around them. Luffy then jumped at Crocodile and put his arm back. Gomu Gomu no bullet, Gum Gum bullet. He brought it forward in a short-range attack, however he backed off once Crocodile put his right hand up to catch it. Learning once again from his past fights, he switched to a kick that Crocodile was able to dodge again. Crocodile swung his hook at the midair Luffy, who was able to shift his body in the air to avoid it and bounce off some debris and watch Crocodile's hook hit a stray fallen rock. Upon making contact with it, it ate right through it. Crocodile pulled his weapon back and looked at Luffy's face, which had taken on a look of surprise, with another superior smirk. However, a rock from the ceiling fell and landed between them, obscuring one from the other's sight. Crocodile jumped all over this chance and cut through the rock with his hook to get to Luffy, actually getting him with a slash, but he then fell prey to a spin kick from him upon striking him. Cobra simply watched Luffy in amazement. All of the best fighters in the country and Crocodile marched right through them. Who is this boy? He looked over at Naruto, who was simply watching the fight intently this time. No snarky comments or running commentary, he simply watched. Crocodile stood back up with a victorious grin. Impaled, buried alive, dried up, you've been through all of that and you're still standing. This time you won't walk away, however. The poison is spreading through your body. The match is over. Luffy didn't seem to care at all. You don't understand a thing. He then attacked again, with his fist only hitting the rocks around the area as Crocodile moved aside. Luffy kept up his attack though. Gomu Gomu no Gatling, Gum Gum Gatling gun. Luffy sent his fists at Crocodile in the speed of a blur but missed his punches. You still don't understand. Crocodile said, you're about to die from the poison. Your body is already beginning to go numb. Even if you win you'll still die. After those last few fights with me it's a miracle you're still here. Luffy said nothing and shot his leg out, nearly landing a kick right into Crocodile's body and upsetting him. Why are you still fighting? He lost his temper as the tomb began crumbling faster. There isn't even anything for you here. Why are you doing this for someone else? What's the point of dying for someone else? If you had just let 1 or 2 people die you wouldn't even be in this mess to begin with. Luffy shook his head pitifully. Like I said, you don't understand. Vivi, even though she keeps saying no, death would throw her own life away to save others. If we had all left her that way she would have died, all because of you guys. Crocodile rolled his eyes. That's why I said leave those kinds of people alone and let them die without bothering you. Luffy came at him again with another rapid-fire flurry of punches, but Crocodile dodged and sent out a blade of sand through the ground at high. However, this seemed to be all that Luffy had left as his body dropped to its knees upon finishing the exchange. Crocodile laughed loudly. Keep on talking, kid. Your body can't even move anymore. It's all over for you. Luffy tried in vain to push himself up, failing and falling back down. What about now? Do you still think you can win? He gestured around himself. No matter what you do for your useless companions, no matter how many times you block my plans, if you lose here everything you did would be useless. It doesn't matter if you somehow live, you're a loser. Amateur pirates like you show up in the Grand Line every day. I don't care about you trash because you always just die. He then grinned and looked up, and now it's all over. He simply stayed looking up while nothing happened whatsoever. Naruto grinned fairly. What's the matter, Crocodile Tem? Someone a little off with their calculation. Crocodile waved it off. It still doesn't matter. Even if the cannon failed I still programmed the bomb to go off a few seconds later. It won't kill as many people as it would have otherwise, but the death toll will still be high enough. Naruto's grin vanished and he started leaking killing intent. So you're saying that even though everyone probably found and defused your stupid bomb by now it's still going to go off no matter what anyone does? Crocodile grinned at him and nodded. That's right, Blondie, but it shouldn't matter to you. You're going to die down here like everyone else. Naruto sighed and looked down, his hair shadowing his eyes. There's only one thing stopping me from jumping up and uncorking this beating of a lifetime on you right now. He pointed over to the side. He's going to do it for me. Luffy had retaken his feet and was breathing heavily, but was otherwise ready to go. If it's me against just you, you can never win. You could barely even speak those words. Crocodile exclaimed. That look suits you. It's pathetic. You still talk as if you can win. Luffy kept huffing. Because I'm going to be king of the pirates. Crocodile scoffed and came at Luffy with his hook. If you really understood how harsh the sea was you wouldn't say stupid fucking things like that. I said it before, weaklings like you are all over the place. Once you've learned the difference in skill in this world, you'll just let your stupid dream die. Luffy's face turned enraged and he stopped Crocodile's hook thrust by lifting his leg and stomping on the wrist of the hook, slamming it to the ground, breaking the hook off, and leaving him wide open for a counter. I'll just have to make sure I'm not as weak as you then. Naruto watched Luffy act on his counter with a hard shot right to Crocodile's body that doubled him over. This kid, he's going to be just fine. He's the kind of guy that gets stronger every time he gets into fights like this. He'll just find ways to win against opponents he has no earthly right of standing up against. A smile slowly stretched across his face. Yeah, he'll be just fine. Luffy followed up with a kick right to Crocodile's face that snapped his head back. Luffy then stretched his arm back and hammer-fisted Crocodile right into the ground. Crocodile stood back up enraged and revealed a secondary blade on his hook gauntlet. I don't even know where you came from. Don't you know who I am? You mean nothing to me. I'm better than you. Luffy shouted back at him. You're going to disappear along with this temple now. Crocodile formed a large sandstorm in his hands and jumped into the air, Sable's Pesado, heavy sandstorm. He then threw it at Luffy and caused a shockwave that didn't help keep the structural integrity of the tomb intact. Luffy survived by expanding his body, before twisting it up while maintaining the air pressure inside of himself. He then blew all of the air out at the ground and rapidly launched himself at Crocodile who was still airborne. Gomu Gomu no storm, Gum Gum storm. He shot out his fist at Crocodile, who let loose his blades of sand to catch him. However, Luffy's fists plowed straight through the blades and right into Crocodile for an uncountable flurry of vicious punches. Going with the momentum of the attack, Crocodile's body ended up pummeled into the ceiling, where the combo didn't stop. Luffy just kept pounding away on him, until he finally beat him through the solid rock of the mausoleum and up through the ground, sending Crocodile flying into the air outside. Luffy then fell to the ground, completely spent by the demanding series of fights with the Shichibukai. Cobra looked up in awe. How did he even make that possible? There were so many layers separating the surface from down here. Naruto whistled appreciatively. That's got to suck. I would hate getting drilled like that. Through solid rock too. Naruto got up and caught Luffy before he could hit the ground and set him down. Damn, Luffy. Cut it a little closer next time, why don't you? Luffy grinned at Naruto widely. Shishishi, sorry about that. But you saw it, didn't you? I kicked that guy's ass to the moon. Or halfway at least. Naruto joked. Good work. Cobra walked over at Luffy and sighed in relief. I will have to thank you for all that you have done. Luffy looked over to the king, still grinning. Hey, there's no need for it. Naruto looked around them. Yeah, this isn't the time or the place for this to be happening. We need to get out of here, he said, grabbing Cobra and Luffy and disappearing in a shunshin. XXX. 8 days later, Naruto simply lay on the ledge of the palace, eyes closed, while Agaram stared at him from down in the currently being rebuilt palace yard. Why are you all still here? Luffy-san and his crew departed over 3 days ago, and yet you and your own are still here. Naruto opened an eye and looked down at Agaram from his position. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but no matter how random it may seem, I do things with purpose and intent. If we left right after the Straw Hats, we would have caught up to them in like a day or something. Our ship is that much faster than theirs, remember? Agaram was confused. How is this not a good thing? Naruto sighed. Because Curly. Naruto grinned when he felt the killing intent from the elite guard. We all have our own stuff going on. All of us moving together would just be way too much. After seeing Luffy handle Crocodile, the kid doesn't need my help, and I don't think he would take it anyway. You're just lazing about so that you don't have to do anything for as long as you can. Nojiko said as she stood next to Agaram on the ground looking up at her captain. Naruto feigned a look of hurt. Noji-chan, how could you think that way about me? Don't you love me anymore? Naruto vanished from the roof in a blur and appeared behind her, about to wrap his arms around her waist. I love why, how do you keep doing that? Naruto asked when he found a pistol positioned underneath his chin upon his attempt to make said move. He looked over at Agaram. Can she even have these here? We are in the palace grounds after all. Nojiko shook her head. Guns don't kill people, Naruto-kun, people do. Naruto let go of her and stood back. No, I think the guns have a lot to do with that as well. If you stood there and pointed your finger at me and said, bang, I don't think too much would happen. Nojiko put her pistol up. You're an idiot. Naruto grinned. You still love me though. Log pose reset yet? Nojiko rolled her eyes and held up her wrist. It reset a week ago. We've been ready to leave forever. And everybody else? He asked. Nojiko started listing off things on her fingers. Miss Valentine was allowed free rein to go through the royal wardrobe, so that's where she is. Johnny and Yosaku are taking turns training. Or in other words, beating the crap out of the soldiers. I haven't the faintest idea where Soren is, but he should turn up soon enough. She huffed. I'm not den mother for you cluster of degenerates, you know. Naruto hugged Nojiko from behind. You're so good at it though, and you're right, you're not a den mother, you're my Nojiko. He finished putting a kiss on her neck that froze her up. Whoa, standing right here, Agaram said with a twitching eyebrow at Naruto, who simply looked at him with disinterest. Oh yeah, you are. He shrugged. Well, do you mind beating it on out of here for a while? We're about to have a private conversation here. Agaram started sputtering nonsense before walking off red-faced. Naruto-kun, Nojiko said warily, her face just as red as Agaram's was. What do you mean we need to talk? You heard me, he asserted. Tell me what you need to tell me. It's not healthy to keep something like this bottled up when you're an adult, Noji-chan, especially seeing as how with the way we live anything can happen to either of us tomorrow. You already know, she replied, embarrassed. Why make me say it again? She placed her arms over his as he continued to hold on to her. Naruto set his chin on top of her head, because you didn't really say it, and you were drunk so it doesn't count. Nojiko sighed before turning around in Naruto's arms and looking him right in the eyes. Naruto-kun. Naruto cut her off by lowering his head and kissing Nojiko. I know. There are still things you need to know about me before I can let you say that though. It could change the way you feel on the whole matter, okay? Nojiko frowned. Okay. But can I still? Oh hell yes. Naruto replied gleefully. After you let me do it the first time and get away with it, I was going to keep on kissing you myself regardless. Nojiko smiled and threw her arms around Naruto's neck to pull him down for another kiss, though in her head she was waving victory flags the entire time. Yeah Nami, how do you like that? I got him first. She had no idea. Flashback. 4 days ago, Nami had climbed up and made her way next to Naruto on the ledge overlooking the palace yard. Why do you stay in places like this? Naruto shrugged. I don't know, easy to find, hard to get to. I couldn't tell you to be honest, I just do. He looked over at her. So what pray tell do you need from me, Nami-chan? You guys are all ready to leave tomorrow, right? Nami nodded apprehensively. Yeah, but why don't you all just come with us? I'm sure it would be great. Naruto shook his head. We'd just be stepping all on each other's toes. And I can't just cut loose and go with you either. Everyone on my ship needs me there. The idiots still aren't able to handle themselves against someone like Zoro. Soren's got Marines after his throat. Miss Valentine doesn't have anywhere to go, and your sister is in love with me. You know, Nami asked him. Naruto gave her an amused look. I'm not as stupid as I make myself out to be. I just act stupid because it's fun. Of course I know. Nami rubbed her tattooed shoulder, so you should know that I might too. I know. Naruto admitted, since before I left, right? Nami looked at him with a small smile. Do you know that what you did on Kami Island was the only time anyone ever did that for me? It was like you were a knight or something, rescuing me. I didn't even ask you to. I actually told you to stay out of the way and I treated you like a stranger. After all that you knew I did, and you still did that for me. And then after it was over you just left, and I didn't think I would see you again. Nami grabbed Naruto's hand. I don't think I can let that happen again. Naruto looked up and sighed. I can't do that, Nami. Not really. Nami blinked in confusion. If it's about Nojiko, it's okay. She smirked. Believe it or not, we almost got into a fight about it on the way to Yuba and we said we would share you. Naruto had a small drop of blood coming from his nose. Okay, honestly that's the greatest thing I've ever heard anyone say about anything ever, but I can't do that to you both. Nami opened her mouth to dispute him when he placed a finger over her lips. There are things about me that you don't know, Nami-chan. Things that I don't really want to talk about right now, that would make this difficult for you and her. I can't do things like this, not the way I want to. You think it won't work out? Nami figured, it'll be fine, Naruto-kun. You're a good person. Why not? Is it about how we're pirates? That we'll have too many enemies or something? Naruto shook his head. To hell with that. No one will be able to hurt any of you without getting ripped apart, rest assured of that. But in something like this, everything can go absolutely right for the rest of your lives, and it'll still be terribly wrong. Wah? Nami tried to ask. Naruto caught himself and shook his head. Never mind, just, forget it, I tend to ramble. Nami giggled. You're like an old man sometimes, Naruto-kun. Naruto's shoulders drooped. Tell me about it, he heaved out. The two sat in silence for a bit, just enjoying the night. You don't get a choice. Nami said simply, surprising the man. Not in this. You don't get to make yourself all alone and unhappy. Not someone like you. Nami swung their hands back and forth. Besides, you do know how greedy I can be, don't you? She said, leaning in closer to his face. Naruto sweat dropped. You don't have the faintest idea what you're getting into, you know that, right? Nami touched her forehead to his. Then educate me. She finished, pressing her lips to his. End flashback XXX. The next day, bad news, Uzumaki. Soren said as he had shown himself after a few days of being scarce. You know how we heard the news about the Straw Hats breaking through the blockade from the Marines when they left? Naruto nodded as they walked through the halls of the palace. Yeah. It's one of the reasons we decided to stay here, remember? Soren scratched his head nervously. Yeah, well, about that. They didn't leave and return to their stations when he got away. Naruto froze in place and turned to him slowly with a stone face. Repeat that please. Soren did so with a serious face. They didn't leave, other than the smoker guy. When I left a few days ago to see how our ship was doing, I ended up around the coast before I went inland along the river, and it's still teeming with marine ships. We're going to have to fight our way out of the river to get to the open ocean. The only thing keeping Naruto from slamming his head into an ornate pillar was that he was a guest here. Soren continued, and it gets worse. They're calling in more ships because they called for a higher-up to come here and go over the situation of the world government and Alabasta's place in it after all of the drama and the rebellion and whatnot. Naruto's voice was tense. And by higher-up you mean? Soren bit his lip before responding. The Marines' promotional levels are just like politics when it comes down to it. What other ranking in the Marines would be suitable for something like this Uzumaki, for a king? They're sending an admiral, and he's coming here to Alubarna. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.